Hello, viewers. How are you doing around the world? Today, we are back again in that channel. We're back today to bring you a very uh, debatable, a very lively conversation. Africa is now poor. Africa is being poorly managed internally and externally. The challenge is not resources. The challenge is not structure. Is the hope you and me have is, let's take example, the leadership of Ibrahim Traoré. Welcome back to the Invert channel with Alex, Ostina, and Andrew today to have a conversation. Is Ibrahim Traoré the blueprint for Africa leadership? Can we emulate him? Can all Africa come together to take sample of this leadership across Africa and see how we can work together as a Pan-Africanist? Hello, guys. Andrew, Ostina, how are you guys doing today?
Oh,
Yeah,
we're
I'm
fine.
doing. I'm
Fine,
doing
thank
fine.
you. I'm fine about
Okay.
Alex.
And yourself, how you doing?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. So our viewers today should look at our what we're discussing. We need to ignite the mind of our viewers, our listener, to amplify values and spark revolutions. What is going on in Africa is a revolution from a young leader from Burkina Faso,
Mm,
revolutionize Africa, rising from the soil of Africa, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the young president of Burkina Faso, turning the bold ideas into industrial reality. Look at what is happening in the country. Our viewers, our listeners, I want you to join us. I want us to add your own contribution. What do you think? What is your comment? We need to back him up. We need to work with him.
mm,
We need to back him up,
mm.
or else the West will take him out. So, guys, let me listen to your view. Let me get your thought process.
Yeah, I mean, what he's doing, it's is mind blowing. And as we all know, for you to rise up and trying to make a change, it alone comes with its own challenges. And I mean, when we look at history, every great leader that once stood to try and make a significant change for his own people always get taken down. So what he is doing, I'm just praying and hoping that the whole Africa will rise up and support him, be behind him, see his vision, what he's got. The the truth of the matter is, it's not that we don't see, we see, but we have the elite that don't want these things to happen, and that on its own is very dangerous. And we have to be careful with it. We have to be very, very careful.
Yeah, I mean, let me before we get further, Austin, now, what is your opening statement before we dive into this? Because this is a very is a heartfelt conversation for us on this channel.
Mm. Yeah, for me, I think that if you're doing something good, definitely people will come after you. If Ibrahim Traoré was doing wrong, I don't think they would try to, take him out of the way. But because he's doing good and he's trying to build Africa, not only his country, he's trying to set a standard and he's trying to set an example that Africa can be great again. Then, yes, so I think all other leaders should stand by him and support him at this time. And also, you know, whatever religion, you are just be saying a simple prayer for him because the guy is doing well. He's really doing well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much for your open statement. So, what we're going to be discussing today is one the the key discussion is this: why is Africa like this? Why are we always finding ourselves uh, a step forward, one step forward, and three step backwards? One step
Mm,
forward, three step backwards. Because one, we always claim that we practice democracy in Africa, and what I say it as um, the democracy we are practicing is not fitting. Every every country in Africa has its own challenges and its own pros and cons. But now let's now look at it from if you want to claim your democratical government in Africa, and we've moved away from military regime to democracy, and now you've now looked back on Burkina Faso, whose the leader is a military, and you can see what he's doing as a military. Now, asking ourselves, are practicing democracy in Africa? Are we really? Because democracy is about the people, it's about the value, it's about what do you have to offer for how are you transform a life of an average human being in your country, an average human being in your country, someone who does not have a name, whose parents, whose family are not educated, whose family are not rich, whose family are not known, whose family that live in a very remote and dark villages. That's what the democracy touches lives. It transforms, it gives hope. So now, which country in Africa can be the heart chest that they practice a proper democratic system whereby they touches life, they transform the lives of the poor people, and they hear people, and people have free of speech, and they do it properly. I mean, how can we move away from this? What can we do different? So, Andrew, Austin, let me get your thought. What is happening in the part of the Africa you're coming from, or where you have a couple of things happening there? What is your view?
For me personally, Alex, I don't think there's true democracy in Africa in general, including my country. Because what you have said, like democracy have to touch the lives of people that don't have name. But in most cases, the people that don't have name, they are the ones suffering. So if they are suffering, that means there's no democracy. You know, for me, since I was growing up, I have this saying that the rich are getting richer, whilst the poor are getting poorer. There is no electricity for people, there is no good water, the system is collapsed. So for me, I don't think there's any democracy in majority part of it. There's no democracy. And how can we make it better? That is only the how can we make
See,
this country
that
better?
question mark of how can we make it better? You
Mm,
know, I always say what is going on right um, in our countries, in Africa. It's something that a lot of people are aware of. It's just we haven't got the courage to get up to make that change. Everybody is scared,
yeah,
everybody is afraid, and
yeah.
Yeah,
everybody is looking at
scared of what?
somebody else.
Yeah, scared of what? When you say everybody's scared, what do you mean by scared of? Because
People are
people are
scared of
already
change. People are scared of
people.
change too.
So people are
Look,
already
look,
scared
if
in this situation anyway. So
look,
what kind of what kind of
not
scared?
speaking in general, let's take ourselves as an example.
Okay.
Mm,
Uh, how many times have you got up to make a change in your own life? You see how scary it is to make a
yeah.
change in your own life?
Mm-hmm, 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 yeah.
It is very scary to make a change in your own life. And one thing that I disagree with a lot of people is we're always blaming somebody else. And
Yeah.
once you start blaming somebody else, you find excuses not to do
Mm,
what you've got to do. So
yeah.
I always say this change that needs to be happening doesn't need to happen on a larger scale. It needs to start happening on a smaller scale, which is everybody is part of the movement. Everything that's going on, everybody is part of it. We
Mm-hmm,
cannot take ourselves out of it. That's hence why I said the whole Africa needs to come together to support Ibrahim's vision that is God for his country and the whole continent. You see,
yeah.
Yeah.
but we are so afraid of the change, and not to leave this out as well. There's elites. There's a group of people that don't want this thing to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, if we have to look at
Mm,
history, and as I said again, look, I'll just bring just Gaddafi into it. Gaddafi is just one of the few names that we can mention. Look what he's done for his own country. Look what he did for
mm,
Libya. Look what he was doing for Africa. I mean,
Mm.
even if we haven't really sat down to do our research about him, the man turned the whole desert into a country. You know, the man-made lake, you know, the biggest man. What did he not do for his own country?
It's
What did
very
the Gaddafi not do for his people?
it's very
Look, he,
and do you know that he has this benefit system for the country?
I was just
Yeah.
about to mention that
Do
the
you
man had a
imagine?
benefit
Do you imagine?
system that the
Eh?
West
Do you
cannot beat.
imagine?
They
Do you
cannot
imagine?
match it. Do you know what I mean? They cannot. Everyone had somewhere to stay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've all been around the world, per se, maybe one or. How many times have you heard somebody saying, "I'm from Libya"? When you travel, they don't travel outside the country just like that because everything they had over there was great. I mean,
Do you
everything
imagine?
that
Mm.
was going on for
And
their
and and
people.
and we can't keep, as a Pan Africanist, yeah. We you see, you just make a very good point, Andrew. You just make a good point about it's not about a large scale, it's about small scale. So
Yeah.
let's bring it down. Let's narrow it down to our neighborhood. Let's narrow it down to our churches. Let's narrow it down to where we worship. Let's narrow it down to our workplace. Everything. An average, when you're dealing with an average African, you meet on the street, you meet on the road, or you want to deal on one to one, you will find that the integrity there is gone. There's no integrity. You can't
Mm-hmm.
even, so when someone says good morning, you look at the time, you find that the person is actually talking about evening. You
But
understand? So
that's
the
just the human
change.
nature. It's not just
So,
an African thing, you know.
well, our
It's
focus here, our focus here is
no,
let's let's
but
build
the reason why
Africa.
the reason why I'm saying that is this is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. We shouldn't take, you know, things out of it. We need to also, you know, make people aware that it's not just a black thing. It's not just an
Mm.
African thing.
Mm.
Because if you go into other races, in other races, well, I'm sure they will also tell you they can't trust their own people. You know,
Mm.
so
Yeah,
no, I
I agree
understand where
with
you're
you.
coming from, but
Yeah,
I'm
I
trying.
agree with you. I
We
agree
are
with
having
you.
a conversation
Yeah,
here,
the
and our
context.
focus
Yeah,
is Africa. But I'm just making you aware that
yeah.
we all
Is a
humans,
is a
and it's
is a
human
human
nature.
nature. Is a human
Yeah.
nature. But
Mm-hmm.
but the context here is we are not looking for what is the right. We are not looking for those people like Saint Peter guiding the gates of heaven. That is not what you're looking for. We're not looking for saints. We're looking
But
for
Alex,
a simple conversation.
don't you think that we the people have responsibility as well?
Of course, we
We
the,
do
the
have
responsibility. Yeah,
responsibility,
like
you
Andrew
know.
said, the responsibility starts from each and every one of us. But
Yeah.
remember, there is this conversation going on in the political space that they need the youth to go and take leadership. They need the youth to go involved in politics. But the problem, and if as individual, if you don't have a national interest, if you don't have value system built in you, let me tell you,
Mm.
if you go and take any leadership role, you will be the worst than the old people there. You
Yeah.
will, you will deliver a worse you will deliver a worse democracy in Africa. It's not
Yeah.
about being youth. It's not about youth getting involved in leadership. It's not about youth getting involved in politics. It's not about youth getting involved in revolution. It's about you as an individual. What is your mindset?
Your mindset. Yeah.
What is your trust? Because let me give you a particular example. You go to Africa Party, for example. You go to Africa Party where you meet people. So
Alex and his
no,
African party.
I'm
I
not,
don't know
I'm
what
giving you. I'm
African
giving.
It's
party
that,
I'm
is done
giving
to
it's
you
from
those.
you.
experience.
Yeah, I'm giving you. I've attended.
I don't know what
I've,
an African party is done to you because
see.
It's an
You start from
it's
there. You
experience.
I
you will start
know.
from there. You will start from there. You will start from there. You will start from. But it's a typical practical example because that place is a place where someone invited you for a party, yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
you left your house. You see how busy we are in the Western world, yeah. You
Yeah.
you you left your house, you went there, you sent just for the fact that you left your house, you've been to the party is a privilege and it's an honor as well. So
Yeah.
now
Mm.
sitting down there, one first of all, most of the party is well disorganized. Disorganized in the sense that one, in that party, there are people they will segregate certain people, they will
Yeah.
ignore certain people. You see, this is where we are talking about. So that's segregation, that ignoring,
Exclusion. Yeah.
in the inclusion and exclusion, and
Yeah.
that greediness, that greediness about me and my carcass, me and
Yeah.
my friends,
Yeah.
me and my
Yep.
family. So this is where
Yep.
we're talking about now. So imagine that party is a country for you to run as a leader.
Mm.
What will you do? So you will have certain people that will give certain privilege to certain people, include certain people, exclude certain people, and pack the whole wealth in that party and take it home.
Mm-hmm.
That is a
Mm-hmm.
typical scenario of what
Is
we're
it
talking
is
about.
it is it have you been to any other parties apart from
Of
African
course,
party?
of course, I've been to Caribbean party, well
Yeah.
organized. I've been to English party, well organized, regardless of who you are. As a matter of fact, I've been to a party where the one of the CEO, one of the managing director of a big organization, we sat together, we ate the same thing, they gave us the same thing, we talked. Everything was, you will not know that this guy is a CEO, a
Mm-hmm.
big organization. We
Yeah,
ate, we ate. Remember, everything shared in that party, we ate equal the same thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There was no discrimination at all, nothing at all, well organized. So that will tell you that, let's start from there. But this is a typical example of where you talk
Mm.
about poor, rich, and the middle class. let's
Yeah.
let's take it from there. It's a simple scenario. This is not just this the sake just happening in the West. It is also happening back home in Africa as well.
Oh yeah.
It's
Mm.
even worse there anyway.
It
It's
was.
even
Yeah.
worse.
They look
We
at
are,
your face.
yeah,
They look
yes,
at your
yeah,
face,
first.
and then
So
they'll
we are
carry the
we are
food,
Yeah,
dump
so
you
we are
yeah.
to
we
another
are the
person.
exactly. So
Mm.
we are the food there is the resources of the nation. So I'm
Yeah.
giving you a particular example. The food there, the drinks is the resources of a nation. That resources of a nation is supposed to go around for all the citizens. The
Everybody.
people
Yeah.
that came to the party are the citizens of the country. The resources will not
Mm.
go around. Some people will hijack it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people will rock up late. Some people will come 7 o'clock. Maybe the party started from 4 o'clock. Some people will come 7 o'clock, and they'll start bringing a fresh food for the people that came for 7 o'clock. And the people
Okay,
that are here
so
for 4 and don't even had anything to eat. So this is a
so
typical
what
example
you're
of
saying,
African values.
so what you're saying is what I did mention from the beginning, that we have to be looking at ourselves, because we've got this bigger issue that we need to address. What you're
Mm-hmm.
saying now, it's something that it's been going on or happening for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's pattern. It's something that is part of us. If we are narrowing it down to we Africans and we're sticking to African thing, it's part of us. It's something that we've been doing for a long time. So now my question is, even though we've got a great leader like Ibrahim Traoré trying to make this bigger change for people that have got a pattern, I've got a way of doing things, a way of living. How is he able to change everybody else's mindset or everybody's pattern to make this happen?
You see, you see. I will keep going back. I will keep going back to the party I just mentioned before. This is a practical. The part I just mentioned before is, I want us to always carve out a story from what I just said. Now, the party is
Mm.
just like a country. Yeah, a country where the citizens that attended the party, the people that attended the party are citizens. Yeah, the organizers are leaders in the country, sharing the resources and everything. You find that, one, in that scenario, in that party, some people will not eat.
Oh yeah.
Some people will not have anything. Some people will
Mm.
get angry and walk away, or some people will go home, and some
Mm-hmm.
people will be deprived. Some people will look at less privileges. Some people
Yeah.
will be no. So this is a certain thing. So this is mentioned about value system, how we think, our mindset, our culture. Some of our culture way of doing things is wrong. We have to move away from this.
Yeah.
Let me give you one of the correction I made when when I when my mom passed on. Yeah, when my mommy
Mm.
passed on, based on the understanding of Africa, the way we do things, and when my mommy passed on, do you know that I part of the organization of the program, the structure of organizing things. I made I developed a program whereby I made all the in fact the party and the people came were overwhelming. You know, when you want in such burial ceremony and everything, most people will come and eat and drink. Yeah, I
Mhm.
made the program in such a way that you need to get yourself sit on the chair. I had to get people that will distribute all the resources there.
Mhm.
You don't get involved if you are not part of the people organizer. You don't get involved. You don't start bringing the resources and give it to your cronies, to give it to your
Mhm.
mates, to give it the people you feel that well deserved than the others. I organize it in such a way everybody that comes to that party will not have anything to say. I did not eat, I did not drink, I was not
Mhm.
after. I make sure the people that organized, the people that are the one organizing the resources are limited, and
Yeah.
with their tag names, with them being in charge. You, whether you are for my relatives, whether you're for my father relatives or my mom relative, whether you're my uncle, you're my aunt, get yourself sit on the chair and let the people sharing the resources be in charge, so that
Mm.
we will know when there is an error, we know who to blame. So everything was organized. So the point I'm trying to make here is the point I'm trying to draw home here from this point is we are Africa as individual, as a community, we lack organization. We're not
So,
organized in events.
so
We're not
Alex,
organized. A typical example. Yes.
mm, the reason why okay, the question I want to ask,
Yeah.
is it because you were involved in it? Because the thing is, if you were not involved in it, and when you go to Africa, you just leave everything for them. Oh, okay. And well, this is my mom's funeral. You guys take control. You guys just do what you want. Do you think it will come out the way you want it to come out? Because you were involved in it,
Yeah.
you can tell that there's a difference. Like, for example, I'll take you as the good leader, like Ibrahim.
Yeah.
Ibrahim is involved in whatever he is doing. He just don't go take over and just sit down and say, okay, you people will take over, you do this, you do that, you do. What you did is a typical example because you were involved in it. You set the rules down. You tell them, this is what I want. This is how it's supposed to be. You know, it's like, it- it's like, it's like you being the good leader. You're not
Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
those bad leaders in Africa whereby you surround yourself, with the same kind of people with a different mindset. And again, the people who we are there for you that do the organizing, they too have a different mindset because you can involve as much people that, oh, you do this, you do this. But if they don't have the same mindset that this is what Alex wants us to do,
Yeah.
and I think, like, individual responsibility now, I think this is the right way. I've seen so many parties. Yeah, I've gone to so many parties. They will have organizers, but the organizer will do different. First of all, the organizer are the one that will spoil the party because one, they have like you said, they have different cabal, different set of people. They will be giving first. They will not even start from the line. They will start serving different people with their friends, their friends husband first, and all those things. So because the people who are in your team have the same mindset with you, they were able to deliver what you asked them to do. So it's just like the government. If you are the head of government and you have some bunch of thieves, some
Yeah.
bunch of cooks, some bunch of people that take bribery, bunch of people that steal the diamond, the resources. Tell me, only you cannot force, try to correct or try to see these other people to do the things you want them to do. So
Yeah.
the people in your team should have the same mindset and they should take responsibility. They should have accountability because these are the things that makes a good government. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
You
mean,
see,
uh,
with
thank
everything
you very
you
much. Sorry. Andrew,
You-
let me get uh, uh, my response to Osina. Yeah, Osina, thank you very much for the question. You see, before prior to the party, yeah, I was
Mm.
involved 100%. In fact,
Okay.
110%. Prior to
Good.
the party, I had a meeting with the organizer, specifically instruction,
Yeah.
and part of the instruction was or were that these are the things I want you to do.
Mm.
Do not go outside it. One. Then two, my family members, my relatives, and everything. And the program I printed, I made it there. I made the session of that program specific
Mm.
that you are not meant, you are here to support me and mourn for the passing on my mom. Do not
Mm-hmm.
get involved in this. And I spoke with the MC in charge, which is the
Yeah.
MC, said, call names and keep emphasizing every 30 minutes that do not leave your seat. Because if you leave your seat to say you want to pick drink, you want to do it, you'll be embarrassed.
Hey.
So do not leave your seat because we don't want to have someone who's been dedicated to look after zone one, zone two, and you
Mm.
are loitering around, going around, you will be embarrassed. So, so these are the mechanisms, these are the processes I put in place. And of course, I was also involved monitoring even my
Mm.
uncles, my aunties, my nephew. They were a kind of disappointed because they wanted to get involved and start. I said, no, no, no. You came to mom with me. Sit down there. Everything will be fine. Just sit down there. So I
Yeah.
was get all my eyes. I have an ego eye. All my eye was everywhere, everywhere, because I know what is going to happen. If
Yeah.
it's going to happen, certain people will not have the privilege to come and marry with me. While certain people will take all the wealth, all the wealth of the government and go away. So the point I'm trying to make here is this: you are right, Austina. A leader, if a leader is being held accountable,
Mm.
if a leader have a clear vision
Mm.
and integrity, the level of corruption will reduce by 50% or more, because the
Yeah.
people working for you, if they see that you are a kind of person that you're not, you want to be transparent,
Mm.
you want to be transparent, that value, that principle, they see you as a principle person. So the likelihood that your character is the what they see, that commitment is there. The possibility of them getting involved, I'm not saying they're not going to get involved, but the trouble is they will find out that you are the kind of person that when they do something like this, they will be get fired.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. So I thank God that I've discovered who I am, and discovering myself made me. I've had a lot of enemies, a lot of friends I've left because this is who I am. I don't. So I have to continue doing it
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what you think or what you feel about me. I'm going to straightforward hold
Yeah.
myself accountable in every decision, in every things I've done or any mistakes. I'll learn from it and move on. But the most importantly is this is my character. I need to be consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Andrew,
you
you
know,
were saying something.
consistency is the key, and I'm very happy that you even ended what you're saying with
Mm.
consistency. You know, it's all about your thought process as well.
Mm-hmm.
You see, when you did mention the party, I've been to a lot of parties as well. Hence why I was asking you what kind of parties you've been to. There's different kind of parties that you go to. Right? There's parties
Mm-hmm.
you go for food. There's parties you go for conversations. There's party you go for to make an antenna meeting to, brings things up. But they're all parties. And one thing I've learned from all of them is I never leave my house to go to a party to say I'm going to eat. I make sure I'm well fed before I go there.
Mm.
So when I go there, whatever I get to eat or whatever I get served, I'm content with it. Most people get up and go to parties with their belly empty. They are going
Mm.
there for food. They are going to eat. So when they get there, by all means, they have to make sure that the food don't obviously finish so that they don't get something to eat. But if we are going to take, this is why I say we have to have our own personal responsibilities that we have to take to make
Mm.
something happen. So imagine if you have a party set up and you've got, maybe you've invited 50 people, and the 50 people you've invited, you've had probably maybe 30 people that are coming to the party with their belly full already. They have that mindset. I'm coming to party to socialize. I'm coming to party to get other benefits, not just to come and eat food. Then I'm sure that party will be run very, very, very efficient.
Mm.
When we bring this into government as well, that we're talking about, people go into power to go and enrich themselves. They're not going there for the people. They're not going there to have conversations, to spark ideas that will change the shape of the government. They're going there for their
Mm.
own personal interest and their own
Mhm.
personal gain.
Mhm.
So if we have people that are going into places like that with that thought process, nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to change. You see, and I really appreciate the fact that you made an example of organizing the party yourself and making sure that everything that you want to be done at the party was done.
Mm.
Now, if we have to bring this into governance, is different. When I say it's different, I mean it's very difficult when it comes to things like that. When you're organizing a government to change the whole nation or whole country, don't forget we have something we say in Ghana language that I don't know. I don't want to say in the Ghana language, but I'll bring it into English. I don't know how it's going to sound into English, but they're saying if
Yeah, yeah.
something,
Go
they're
ahead.
saying
No,
if
no. You could say it. You could say it in Ghana and translate it in English.
Yeah.
okay, it says "Abuabe kawa nefi untumemu," meaning if an ant or an animal is going to bite you, it's from your own cloth that you're
Mm,
wearing that is
mm,
going to bite you. You
yeah,
understand?
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
So this this I'll say this journey that Ibrahim is taking us on, I see it to be very, very, very good, but at the same time, very dangerous as well. You see, the party that
Mm.
you organized, even though you were directly involved in it and make sure that everything happens, you see your own uncles or your
Mm.
aunties almost 10 are against you.
Yeah, of
And
course.
the reason why it didn't happen is because you're not in their midst. You did it and you went out of it.
Yeah.
If you were in their midst today, as we're talking about it, they will come for you. They will come for you. So, what Ibrahim is doing, it has to do it also from a distance. Because if he doesn't do it from a distance, it's going to be hurt really badly. Because somebody from his own regime, his own camp, is the one that is going to get up to do something to him or to affect him really bad. So,
Mm.
we making examples or we making all this. I just wanted to make this point to make him understand that as humans as well, in everything that you're doing, you shouldn't be naive and say nothing is going to happen to me. You
Mhm.
always have to be on your guard.
Yeah.
Do it from a distance.
Mhm.
It's very, very important. So,
Yeah,
I, I mean, one
yeah,
more point that I wanted to make as well, which I never leave out of my conversation, is we need to do these things from our own individual homes. When we have our kids, we need to teach them this integrity thing that we're talking about and everything. We need to instill that in them. You see,
Yeah.
the what is doing the older generations have tried to do that and they wanted to do that, but the younger generations are the one that don't make it happen because they haven't got that core values that they need to make that change. As you said, the leader needs to have the leader qualities to be able
Yeah.
to do what a leader is supposed to do.
Supposed to do.
So
Yeah.
I'm not taking the older generation and all those things out of it. I'm saying we need to focus on the younger generation. And if possible, we have to force these things on them because nothing happens without you enforcing certain things.
Enforcement. Mm.
yeah. I mean, you have a key point. Let's go back to Ibrahim Traoré. Ibrahim Traoré is not even up to 40 years old. I think he's not up to
No.
40 years old.
I saw a clip of him. You
And
know, when you were mentioning getting involved, I saw a clip of him playing football with some celebrities. I even saw JJ Okocha in there. I
yeah,
saw
yeah,
other
yeah.
stuff. I don't know if that clip is AI. You know, this AI thing is fooling
No,
us
no, no.
all
It's not.
the time
It's
now.
not.
So,
It's not AI.
have you
It's
seen the
real.
clip?
Oh yeah, I've seen the clip.
So,
No,
so
I even
that's also an example
there's
that we
another
need
clip.
young
There's another
leaders. We
clip.
need people that have the energy to get
That
involved.
there's
Yeah.
another clip I also saw where he went to the mosque. He went to the mosque, yeah, in the open space, a very massive open space mosque, and where he literally was there with honorary people, praying and everything. You see, one thing that really baffles me about this guy is his anti the way he withdrew his country from French alliance. Yeah, the way he withdrew is and say it told the French people, you know what, our national our national minds, our resources control for national development is for Burkina Faso. It's meant for us.
Yeah.
This is a bold step ever, and
Yeah,
this,
well,
this
that's why they are after him
yeah,
now.
and this
That's why, you know.
and this
Hmm.
was what uh, this was what Sankara was doing in Burkina Faso, and they murdered him. And all these words, they will always come, they will use the people within.
Yes. Yeah.
They will use
Enemy
it, they
within.
will use
Mm.
his people. Before you know
Yeah.
it now, they will push the narrative. They said Ibrahim Traoré has embezzled 1 billion. So they will
Mm.
come up with they will come up with the narratives. They will say
Yeah.
he has embezzled, or he's killing his people, or so they will the way they come up with the narrative about Gaddafi. They will come up with all sort of narrative, and the next thing they want to kill him. That is exact. So my appealing is for Africa, Pan Africa, all Africa, from the west, from the east, from the south, from the uh, north. Let's come together to support this guy, because this guy is not just a leader, is someone who is trying to industrialize Burkina Faso, and it will be very bad and sympathetic if we do not support him, because Africa, we are very good in migrating. Before you know it, now when Burkina Faso become a little west, all African countries start jumping and start traveling, going there to live.
Mm.
Start with we are very good at lynching, going there to
But they
going there
have
to
this
look for.
visa-free travel to other African countries now. I think I'm not. Is it Burkina Faso? I think it started that too, of
Mm.
that visa-free thing. It's been going on for some time now,
You
but I
see,
think it's
Yeah.
enforcing that. It's enforcing that now too, and that's what Africa needs. I
so
Yeah.
we
mean, when
need
you
to
look at
so
Europe,
yeah, we need.
so
And
why is those things not happening as well? I mean, you're coming from Ghana trying to go to South Africa. You can't even get visa to go there. You're trying to go to Kenya,
Really?
Zimbabwe. You need a visa to travel in Africa, your own continent. Look at America. America is not a country. You know, America, going from one end to one end, you don't need visa. When you come to
Mm.
Europe, going from one end to one end, you don't need it.
You don't need
So
this
why
now.
do we have that in Africa? Why do we have that there?
that is what I'm
Mm.
telling you. When you have leaders without national interest, when you
Mm.
have leaders with selfish, you see,
Even if
on
we're collecting that visa thing because we need a capital to
The
change the
revenue.
whole continent as well, and they are collecting
Yeah.
that visa thing and doing something because obviously we all have to contribute. Say maybe that's our contribution to the continent. You're taking visa fees from me to come from Nigeria to go to Ghana
Mm.
or to go to Zimbabwe or whatever, and that is going into the continent. You're building stuff for the continent because we cannot do that without obviously taking these taxes and all those things because our taxes system in Africa as well is very weak
Yeah.
compared
you
to
see,
the
yeah,
So yeah.
Western.
you see, going back to what you're saying. I I think Julius Malema, yeah.
Yeah, Julius. Yeah,
Julius
Julius. I think
Malema
he's,
is
yeah.
is a fan. I'm a fan of Julius Malema, because he's saying is similar to what you're just saying about open border for Africa. We do
Mm-hmm.
not need the West. We do not need. We have human capabilities, we have the resources, we have the minerals, we have the landscape, we have the weather, we have everything that we
Everything.
need to transform
Mm.
Africa. But the trouble is now is the biggest problem we are having are leaderships. We don't
Yeah.
have leaders with vision. Could you imagine in a country where in a certain region has resources, the leader doesn't know what to do with the resources. It doesn't know, and you're a leader. And Andrew, like the point you made earlier, that when you make an example with a party, that before you leave your house, your
You
belly,
have
you are
to eat.
satisfied, you are okay. You're not going for food because you want to go there to interact and have a conversation. So let's flip it on the going to most people going into government just to eat.
Yeah.
They have not been, they don't have career. Some of them are, so someone will come on a TV station and tell you he has been a politician for 50 years. What the
Mm.
hell? What is your career? What have you been doing before politics? They don't have nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
Some of them claim to be lawyer, but they have not practiced a law for once. For once, no chamber to or uh, on their name, no chamber on
Yeah.
their name. Some of them
Mm.
claim to be a business, this thing, no business on their name, nothing at
Yeah.
all. They've
They're
so
just waiting.
yeah, so how all
Mm.
these years you are in government, where did you make all this money? Where does your resources? So when we start holding this leadership account accountable, okay, you've been a leader for, you have all this, you've amassed all this wealth. Where does all this money come from? So
Exactly.
until
Mm.
when we start making it just like let me, I know you guys might think I'm digressing a bit. Let's now look at it from the religion perspective.
Mm.
Someone will claim to be called, God called him or God called her to become uh, a preacher. All of
Mm-hmm.
a sudden, all of a sudden, after a couple of years, the person has opened different businesses. Yeah,
Yeah.
and open different businesses, and the person will still be running the church. You will also be running the businesses. And when today, if the person start making unnecessary wealth, or if the business starts showing, if you start reaping from the businesses, the person will have the god to come on the TV station and said, uh, 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 he has not worked for once, and God, heavens open wealth. So God poured wealth to them, or God
So
gave them.
basically, the wealth is from the church, because
Yes.
if
No,
if
they
if the
will not.
congregation is
Yeah,
not paying tithes.
yeah. No, they will not agree. They will not accept the fact that the word is from church. Remember, the business started from the proceed from the church,
Mm.
but they will
Mm.
not say that. They will not say that. The point I'm trying to make here is, are all the people going for government or into government, uh, uh, um, you know, into government, are just for what they will eat.
Oh
that
yeah, it's
that
what they'll
benefit
get. Yeah.
that benefit from
So
it.
they are
They don't,
selfish
they don't have,
interests.
yeah, they don't have anything to offer. So
No.
when you measure about youth, it's not about being youth. It's about value. What is your integrity? What is do you
Mm.
are you how patriotic are you? Look at
Are
look
you?
at
Yeah.
look at Ibrahim Traoré.
You
This
see,
guy
the reason why
he's not up to 40. He's not
the
up to
reason
40
why
years old. The guy is patriotic to the to the core,
To
that
the
is
core. Yeah.
doing
you
that is
see
doing. Look at the
the
vision. Look at
reason why the
revolution is
reason
doing
why
in Burkina Faso.
the reason why I mentioned youth, the reason why I mentioned youth. Look, before I changed my mindset, I had to safeguard my own mind, not letting anything just go in there. Okay.
Mm. Mm.
Now, the reason why I'm saying the youth, they are the ones coming up now. Okay.
Yeah.
So the adults, the grown-ups that are out there already, they know what me and you are talking about, and they're not
Mm-hmm.
making no change with that. Why? Because they've built that pattern already. They've got that way of doing things. And when you have a way of doing things, do you know how difficult it is for you to change before you get to do something else? It takes years, because it didn't take you, remember, it didn't take you 1 or 2 years to build up to be a corrupt leader or to be where you are right now. So when I'm saying focus on the youth, because they've got that mindset now too, that they want to be rich, they want to see, because they've got things that are flashing up on social media. Somebody showing
Mm.
the cars they've bought, this. but they don't understand the processes that they have to take. They have the steps that they went through to get to where they got to. So when I mention youth, I mention about we need to educate this youth. And the education that I'm talking about, we need to educate them, is we need to have a false way of educating them too, for them to have that mindset change. Because I had to force myself to get to where I am today. And I know how difficult it was for me to do that. I'm a
Mm.
music lover. I listen to music at it. I mean, if you see the case and the CD things, that the CD case that I have, there's no music that was fresh out release that I didn't have. I love music. I mean, so much. For me to change the way I was thinking, I thought of it this way, that, well, because I love it and I've got used to it, it wasn't an easy thing to do for me. And my work also helped me out with what I did. So I packed the music away. I stopped listening to music. I said, yeah, I love
Mm.
music. I can hear music. I packed the music away. And now what I did was I went on a self-development journey. I started listening to podcasts like this.
Mm.
I started listening to um other people that have been successful, other people that have done things to change their life. And this same youth that we're talking about, they don't have that time for that. They see that to be nonsense. They see that to be bullshit. They see that to
Mm.
be boring. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I say the youth, I mean we need to focus on them more, because they are the ones that can get up to make that change. And we need to make
Changes.
them
Mm.
understand that from where they are, well, where they've come from and where they are now, they need to be aware. They need to have that self awareness to understand that changing your thought process is not an easy thing. It takes a
No.
long time to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the example I'm just trying to make now is I'm taking myself and saying, you know what, for me to change from the way I was thinking, I have to cut off my old ways, find a
Yeah.
new way. And the new way I found was listening to this podcast, these educational programs and all that. And the youth don't want to do that. The
No.
adults that we're talking about, some of them are doing that. That's why they're
Mm.
getting smarter and smarter in their own way. They're
Yeah.
smart thieves, they're smart corrupt people.
Yeah.
Okay, they're not just dumb thieves or dumb corrupt
No.
people. They're very smart.
Mhm.
They're educating themselves in those kind of ways, but the youth are not doing that. So
Mm.
for they're being dumb youth, because they're looking at the person that has got probably a Lamborghini now, or Ferrari now. They're looking at them and saying, okay, well, your story was like the story I just gave you. Now I have to stop listening to music and all those things I was doing, and reprogramming myself with this
Mm.
information that's out there, books and all those things that I can get my hand on. Whatever, look at a successful person that's got whatever. And my mindset was finding out how did they become successful, and I
Yeah.
realized that they are just a normal person like me. The
Yeah.
only difference between me and them is they are very disciplined, they are dedicated, they've got the
Consistent.
integrity, they have the vision, they have the character, everything that we're talking about. And the youth of
Mhm.
today don't have it.
Yeah. But Andre, the other thing again, why the youth don't have it, for example, some of these African countries, instead of them, um, yeah, like China now. China have a lot of factories that encourage the youth to do something for themselves. They encourage the youth to go into trade, encourage the youth to develop themselves, encourage the youth to build things. Whereby some parts in Africa, what they do to the youth is to give them drugs. You know, the youth are there. It's like they are making their money from the youths, because if the youths don't buy the drugs will not sell.
Yeah.
So in another word, some of these youths, instead of them like what you are saying now, you were talking about your own personal development and growth as well, whereby in some parts of in African country is drugs, and when somebody take drugs, they will be like a zombie. They don't have the thinking
Mm, mm,
faculty.
mm, mm,
They
mm.
can't think.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
can't change their mindset. They can't do nothing. All they do is like, for me, I said it's a weapon of mass destruction, especially in some parts of West Africa. In my country, it's happening there. Drugs. People, the youth are taking drugs. They are dying every day. So now, youths are dying. They are taking drugs. It's only, I would not say half of the youths in my country, most of them are on drugs.
mm,
Most of them are. So tell me, how are we going to have that human capital? How are we going to, how is the youth going to operate? How is the youth going to think for themselves? Because some of these people, they're using the youth now as like a weapon of mass destruction against themselves.
mm,
Against themselves. They cannot think. Even when you take alcohol, you know, when you take alcohol, you take a little bit of alcohol, it's okay, but if you take a lot, your thinking faculty is messed up. Imagine somebody's taking hard drugs, cocaine, and kush, all those things. And you, when you see them in the streets, like they are zombies, how are
mm,
they going to think?
mm,
So you can see that these politicians, these people, their own children, they are putting their children in line with themselves. Because how,
yeah,
why did I say that? They are sending their kids to England, to America for them to study and everything. Why other children, like the poor children, and some of these poor children have potential in them. Some of these poor children have brains. It's just that their circumstances
mm, mm.
don't, they don't have that help, that small push from the government so that they can become a better person. So what are they doing? They are sending their kids to nice school, beautiful in and private school. Whilst the poor masses, their children have been destroyed. Every day, every day youths are dying. Children as young as 10 are taking drugs in my country. It's so bad.
You
It's
see,
so,
you
it's so
see the
bad.
the
mm,
reason why they are doing that. Some of these rich kids or some of these successful people not necessarily means their kids are going to be successful too,
No.
or their kids, the school they're taking them to and everything. The common example, the common reason or the logic behind it. You see, we human beings, we conform to our environment. What we see, what's happening around us is what we adapt to.
Mm,
So sometimes when they take their kids to those places, is what they are seeing around them is what they are conforming to. You see,
mm,
so I mean that exposure is very important. It's very, very, very important too. Hence why I was saying let's focus on the youth and give them some kind of exposure, because the exposures they're getting now is people getting fast money. Me and you
yeah.
sitting here right now today, if I were to be rich today, the people that I used to play football with, or I used to probably go clubbing with and everything, and they didn't see the steps that I did to get to where I was, they're going to look at it as fast money. And how did
Yeah.
I get that money? And
Mm,
now the people that are making that money, they are getting tired and frustrated with the youth. They can't get up and set that, because when they get rich, they're in a different league. When they get that
mm,
position, they are in the different league,
yeah.
and all they focus on is people in that kind of league, which I can
Mm,
understand. Because right now, for what I've done to myself and the kind of um, way I'm thinking now, it's going to be hard for
it's
me to go
different.
back and sit down
Yeah.
with somebody that don't reason and talk or think
It's
like the way
different. Yeah.
I
It's
think. You
different.
see,
Mm,
so when I say we focus on them, we don't forget them, we don't leave them behind. We are the same people that needs to get up and get involved with the youth. And getting involved in the with the youth is not just giving them handouts.
no.
It's not just giving
Mm,
them handouts. We need to create some kind of, and I mean what Ibrahim is doing. Okay, what Ibrahim is doing is something that I've always dreamt of. If I can get my notepad today and show you, I've been writing stuff down and I've been saying, this is what I want to do for Africa. This is how I want to see Africa
mm,
going and everything. And one thing that I don't want to take away out of it is when we are building schools and we are building factories and all those things, even if you have a company, you've built a manufacturing plant that employs probably 5,000 people.
mm,
Eh? and you're trying to change the country or trying to build those the place. Don't forget that 5,000 people that are coming there, they're only coming for food as well. If we are using
Mm,
the party as an example, they come in there to work to get money as a hand to mouth.
mm,
Now, if we are trying to build Africa and we've built this factory and we've given them the job, we also need to have some kind of an educational place in the factory that will probably give them maybe one day out of the week, have a set of people that goes and sit down with somebody that's been able to transform their lives by changing their
mm,
mindset, the way they think,
mm,
the way they act, the way they do things, and school them. When I say school
mm.
them, put them into that. Don't let just them come to the factory Monday to Friday or
Friday.
Monday to Sunday and just work, pay them, and then they go. Because
No.
you've not changed them. You haven't done anything.
Mm,
So one of the plans that I had in my writing and in my drawing and everything, when I establish myself and build that factory, that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to
mm,
enforce that on them because you cannot just say to me, I've built a factory as a rich person and I've got 50,000 people working for the company,
mm.
but we still haven't had some kind of program going in there that's also shaping and changing their mindsets because they're
Mindset.
going
Yeah.
to end up the same.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you.
You
Yeah.
see, so what
Yeah.
Ibrahim is doing when they're building the schools and all those things um for the poor people that haven't got access to education and all those things, it's not education of just going there to read math, English, and science and all
Mm,
those things. They
mm.
need to have a mindset class,
Yeah.
have somebody who is a personal trainer. When we come about personal trainer, we've got people that are personal trainers in your health. You go to the gym, you have a personal trainer that will train
But
you,
yeah,
teach you how to lift the metals, how to do your chest press and all those things. We need
nutritionist
to
as
have
well. Mm,
those kind of lessons or class in our African education system
yeah.
because without that, nothing is going to change. You can build 50,000 schools. The
It's
kids
true.
will go to
It's
the
true.
school, they'll graduate and come out the same way
The
if
same
we don't
without
have mindset
no
classes.
different mindset. Like what you were saying, Andrew. Like the same thing happens to me. I was the kind of the person that I want to go to party every weekend. And apart from party, I watch film. Nigeria film, it was part of me. Oh my God, I will sit down and watch, like, if I'm not mistaken, 20 movie a day. I've changed all that. I'm reading books now. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm listening to interesting, and when you start doing that, you find out that your personal development change, you know, and you find out that you have a different mindset. And so I said to my husband, I said, the things I've known now, if I should have known it when I just came to it, I would have been a millionaire by
Oh
now.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And I said to myself, Ostina, it's never too late. I'm
No,
changing things around because I've known a lot of things, and sometimes we take things for granted. But when changes start, changes have to start from individual. Changes have to
yeah,
start from ourselves first. For when we change, then we'll be able to give a hand. Then we'll be able to extend it to other, because changes is a personal choice you have to make for yourself. So, do I have to live like this for the rest of my life? For example, some people choose to beg, and if even if I one day I went to Africa to visit, and this lady asked me for money. And I said to this lady, I said, I don't mind to give you the money. I said, but when I give you the money, what are you going to do with it? Are you just going to buy bread and peanuts or something? I said, if I give you this money, try to do a trade. And I show her what to do. And so I called my mom later on. I said, oh, she's doing it. And she's doing well. With that small money, I said, this is what you should do with the money, so that the money will bring increase for you. I said, I don't mind to give you money, because the thing is, like you said, the mindset of our people, that's the problem.
yeah,
Different
yeah.
mindset.
So
No?
most of the times the African leaders, what they're doing is they're giving handouts.
Yeah,
Okay? They're not really helping to change the people, their
and it's not
mindset and
sustainable.
everything.
Yeah, giving a handout is not sustainable at all.
It's
it's
not
not.
sustainable.
It's not a
So
slavery.
you see the example you've just made now. You ask the woman when you give her that money, what's she gonna do with it? Okay,
Exactly.
yeah, and that's just the simple questions we need to start asking our
Mm,
kids now when we're putting them into school. When I put you into school, what do you want to come out of the school with? Because most of the stuff that they're gonna come out with, you can see we all grew up with that. When you're going to school, your mom and your dad already instill in you that you're going to school to become a lawyer, doctor, teacher, all these big jobs that we talk about. That's all they want you to be when you go to school. So they've already instilled that in you, or you already have that in you. One
mm,
thing that they don't tell you about is having a mindset to do all those things, changing those mindsets. So when I talk about handouts, is the schools that we are building in Africa, the educational places, buildings, and stuff that we build is handouts to our people. The reason why
mm,
I'm saying it's handout to our people, we're building it to put uniform on them to go and sit down, to go and read about butterfly and read about
yeah.
the parts of goats, the parts of chicken, and all those things. We don't.
Mm,
We need that. That's fine. That's life skill and all those things. What we need to have is we need to have mindset classes, mind change to
mm,
transform your mind, because your
yeah.
mind is what takes you to places.
Yeah. Your values, your core
Your
values,
values,
personal growth, personal
personal growth,
development,
personal, all those things.
responsibility,
Because
accountability, all these kind of things. Yeah.
I've seen people that are the one of the smartest people in the world. When I say in my world, I'll say, oh, I've got all the degrees and everything. But when you look at the way they're thinking and the way they're speaking, they don't have that personal growth. The only growth they had was to learn and be specialized in maths or English,
No common
speaking their
sense.
big English. Or no, you ask them what's 10 plus 15 divided by this, they'll tell you everything. But their mindset is so messed up.
Mm,
Mm.
mm,
It's so messed up. So the only thing they can also pass on to their generation or people around them is knowing how to calculate money, knowing how to take money, but not
mm,
knowing how to change their mindset of dealing with other people or
mm.
dealing with other things. And for me alone, I always say today as I sit down, if somebody approaches me and put on the table, they're gonna give me a money that is gonna change, uh, they're going to give me £1 million that is going to change my life straight away, or they're going to school me to transform my mindset, I'm going to take that offer. Might change, school me and transform my mindset, because the mindset I have now or I had before for that £1 million, I wouldn't know what to do with that £1 million.
Yeah.
It will go
Oh,
just
yeah.
like that. It will go away just like that.
Mm,
But if I have transformed my mindset, the way I think, the way I do things, and that opportunity come for me to get that 1 million, I'll grow faster.
yeah. Yeah.
I'll grow
Yeah.
faster. So, I mean, what Ibrahim is doing, I mean, what I want him to do as well is help Africa people, help his own people to transform their mindset. That is one key factor that would help. Because if he is able to do that, if Gaddafi was able to put that into his people, I don't think somebody will come from the outside and tell you your leader is a dictator and is doing this, is doing that. So let's get rid of him. And then they'll get
Mm.
up and kill
The leader.
ma- their own master. I'll call him a master because he
Mm,
put his foot down and say, you know what, this is what Libya is going to do. This is what Libya stands on.
mm, mm,
This
mm,
is what we stand. This is our core values. This is our discipline. This is our vision for the country. But an
mm.
outsider came and told them that he's a leader. Imagine if he had a way of transforming their mindset,
Mindset.
think like the way he thinks. Do you think somebody else will come from outside and tell you
No.
that, hey, your dad or your mom is a monster?
Can you imagine? Let's kill him or
Let's
let's
Mm.
kill him.
tie.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So they shouldn't take that. I appreciate the fact that they're trying to change the continent. They're trying to change the people and everything. But without them helping and finding a way to change our mindset, the country will change. And 10 years down the line, we're going to go back again to zero. Because somebody's
Yeah.
going to come from the outside and tell us that you are in shit. You've changed the country now. The roads that you've built, the factories and things that you've built, it wasn't built properly. The person that built it
Mm.
didn't build it at your own interest. They build it for their own interest, and they'll
Mm.
bring you straight back down.
Yeah. Listening to Austina and Andrew, you guys have made a very brilliant key point for us to actualize the kind of leadership we want in Africa. Because the kind of leadership we want in Africa is a leadership that someone, you don't need to be an entrepreneur, you don't need to be an investor for you to invest into agriculture, for you to invest in education, for you to invest in local manufacturing, the youth involvement in state building through work and military services, why other African nations should study and emulate Ibrahim Traoré. That is what we should be aiming at. That is how we should be working together. And when you emphasize about mindset, when you emphasize about the way we think, I think we have institutions. The challenges we have in Africa is we have lesser institutions and we have stronger people.
Mm.
We don't have institutions that support all this, but if we can build an institutions where these principles of shifting our mindset, shifting the way we think, if all these principles are built into these institutions, for example, we have mosques, we have churches, we have where we worship, we have other educational facilities where we can imbibe these principles into them, especially in in the landscape. For example, in Africa, one of the biggest institutions we have is churches, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah,
We have
Yeah.
churches, we have mosques. So if that principle is imbibed in there, for them to understand that dignity, there is something they call dignity. There's something they call determination. There's something they call discipline. There's something they call accountability.
Mm.
All those principles imbibed in church, imbibed in mosques, imbibed in where we worship. I think the youth, people will start, because people spend, if you look at Africa, we spend a lot of hours in churches worshiping,
Yeah.
praying.
Mm.
If all those principles are imbibed in them, because like what Austin has said about China, at early stage they start developing the people in terms of life skill, start development. So
Mm.
it's not the same thing in Africa, because when you see a young boy or young girl growing up, the next thing they say God call him, it becomes Simon.
Yeah.
God will call everybody, and when
Mhm.
God call you, is a must that you must carry a Bible. Is a must
Mm.
must be in church. You see a 10 years old boy, 12 years old that is creatively good in science, or creatively good in AI, or creatively good in developing something. The next thing, the parents will start taking him or her to church. And
Mm.
immediately they step into church, the career is gone, is dead. He will start seeing signs and wonders. God called us in different capacity, in different ways.
Yeah.
There are different ways God called us, and we are meant to change, to transform Africa, to
Mm.
revolutionize Africa. And what Ibrahim Traoré is doing is an example for all our responsibility. Each and every of us is held accountable to do a similar thing in a different capacity, in a different
Mm.
field, in a different calling. So I believe what we said so far, our submissions is a way going forward. Africa does not need more speeches. We don't need conferences, workshop, training, this all there and there. What we need is people that act.
Yeah.
Go and do the art. And before you do that art, your mindset need to be aligned. You need to liberate yourself from your past. You need to have that shift, that shift, that your minds need to shift towards, because life is built around principle.
Mm-hmm.
Life is built around principle, nothing more. It's all about
Yeah.
principle. Principle. Life is
Mm-hmm.
built around principle. If you don't have the mindset to shift your mind, that life is all about principle, then uh, everything we are just saying is it will just so Traoré is a symbol of what is possible in Africa.
Yeah.
Captain Ibrahim Traoré is what is possible in Africa.
Yeah.
It's possible
Yeah.
in all over Africa. As a Pan-Africanist, whoever you are, wherever you're listening to, Ibrahim Traoré is a kind of leader model we need in Africa.
In
It's a kind of
Africa. Yeah.
model we want. And I believe you, for Ibrahim to do such thing, his mindset has changed.
Mm-hmm.
His mindset has changed because
Mm-hmm.
his national interest, his Burkina Faso national interest, is what is in his heart. Because
Yeah.
his mindset has changed. He's a patriotic to the core. His
Yeah.
mindset has shifted. So
Yeah.
if mindset has not shifted, he won't be doing what he's doing. So today, this is what we need. If your mindset going into government, going into any political realm or any government, your mindset need to change first and
Yeah.
foremost. If your mindset doesn't change, the national interest, your patriotic is absolutely zero. You will not be able to deliver anything because
Nothing.
you bring your cronies, you bring your caucus, you bring your cabals, you bring your
Oh
friends,
yeah.
you bring your
Yeah.
family members,
But
you bring
Alex,
all your household. That is the problem. Your
some of
mindset
them are
needs to
going
change.
there,
What?
some of them are going there into politics so that they can get what they want. Some of them
Exactly.
are here, they don't have a house, they don't have nothing, but when they enter into politics, they'll go to Africa, go into politics. By the time you open your eyes and close it, they have all of these things. Where do they get it from? Because they have a mindset. For a thief, the mindset they have is to go and steal and bring, and
I tell
steal
you,
and
yeah.
steal
So
and make their
so
people better,
I
steal
tell you
and
this.
make their
Yeah, I tell you this. Yeah, I tell you this. I build my chest. I build my chest. If you probe all the political leaders in Africa, and let me narrow it down, be specific.
Mm,
Probe political leaders in Nigeria. I'm telling you, 99% of them, all their wealth is from the resources of Nigeria.
of
I tell you
course.
this,
Yeah.
all their wealth is from. So let's now unpack all those wealth. Let's begin to distribute those wealth to Nigeria development. You will see that they don't have anything,
Anything
and,
to
and that
their
is what I'm
name,
talking about. So
nothing.
the mindset. If an
Yeah.
average Nigerian, an average Ghanaian, an average Sierra Leonean does not change their mindset, you go
Mm,
into government, you will not deliver anything. You will
anything.
not. You will not. I'm
so
sorry. You will not.
the key point is never go to a party with an empty stomach.
Of course.
Exactly.
Of course.
Make,
Exactly.
make sure you
Yeah.
eat something before you go. So
Exactly.
so when
Yeah,
you go
it's true.
and
It's
and
true.
the food they're serving the food, you're not sitting down. Hey, I'm hungry. Oh, when are
And,
you gonna serve me? Oh,
and
when it,
true. You can decide not to eat.
you can decide not
Some
to eat.
Yeah.
you can
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes you can go to a party. Me, I do that because if my spirit said to me, "Don't eat from this food," believe you me, I will not eat. I will just sit down there and just be watching and talking. I do a lot of talking. Sometimes you don't have to eat.
See,
You eat
even
from
Most
your
even
times,
when
house.
most
when
times,
when you go there
most
to go and
times,
eat, you
you
don't
see,
eat, that's your focus, okay? So you don't
Yeah.
even have great conversations because you
Sometimes you
don't
don't
have
have
when
to
I say you
eat.
don't have great
Nah.
conversations is
Mm,
because you're so focused on the food, you're not seeing a group of people that are standing around or sitting around having a conversation that is very interesting. Your focus is to go and eat. Okay.
most
So if
times,
I,
yeah.
if I, if I, Andrew, have gone to a party and my belly is already full, I'll probably have a different interest of going there, probably trying to
mm,
network, probably trying to find somebody that I can have a conversation with, or something
mm,
like that. But if I'm going there with my belly empty and I've gone there, I'm sitting down. Like as I said, example, I'm sitting down waiting. When they're
mm.
serving the food, you're like this.
Yeah.
When is it going to reach my turn? So as you said, some of these political leaders go into government just to go and eat, just to go
Yeah.
and get a house, get a car from it and everything. If they
Mm-hmm.
had all these things already and they go
Oh
there,
yeah.
they will not be waiting and be so eager to get that. They'll probably be looking at what can we do for the country before we get something
Exactly.
for ourselves.
Exactly. Exactly.
But
Exactly.
don't get me wrong too. In Africa, a lot of our leaders, some of them are already wealthy before they become a leader,
Mm.
and still they're grabbing more
more,
from it.
More
more. It's
greed.
greed.
They still
This
want
is
Greed.
this
more,
is
the
the greed.
greediness of it.
So
You
so
see,
so
Yeah.
so
this is where the
so
this is where this is where the case of the party also fall in line, because
Yes, greed.
as you said, you might, before you leave your house, you might be filled, your belly is full. When you come to the party, that greediness that is in you, even though you've eaten at home, your belly is full, the greediness will not allow you to allow others, probably that came to the party for the food's sake. You will still use that, your greediness will allow you, you
To
dominate
take
everybody,
away.
to take
You
away
take
everything,
everything away.
everything. No, it's true. No, you see,
so
when I
everything
see,
so
no,
everything falls down or boils down to mindset,
it's a
mindset.
Yeah.
mindset. Yeah, it's a mindset.
So
Yeah.
It's a
so
mindset.
so that's the key point in our
Yeah.
conversation. That
Yeah.
It's a key point. Yeah,
always have a positive and a clear and a good mindset.
Mindset.
Because
Yeah.
without that, nothing is going to happen. I didn't
Nothing.
even think about it that way until you've mentioned it. If your belly
Mm.
is full and you go to a party and you don't have a good mindset, you'll be looking at taking stuff away,
of
take
course,
Yeah.
away.
of
Yeah.
course,
Take
of course,
away.
of course.
So even though you've done the
Because
first
most
part
times,
of you've
even
eaten
most times,
before you went to that party, your
Mm.
greediness and because of the way
Greed.
you see things as
Yeah.
well, you want to
Yeah.
bring them home for your
Yeah.
kids or your
Yeah.
family
yeah,
members.
Mm.
most
Okay.
times, m- most times that I do go to party is, my essence of going there is to have an interaction, and
Mhm.
the least, mostly, so most times, and when I don't eat, people think I'm being arrogant, or I'm being, no,
Mm.
I'll take water. I always have
Yeah.
bottled water.
Or drink. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
bottled
drink.
water. That is the how far I can go. One bottle of water, and that with me, and people will look at it, they say this guy is showing off. He doesn't want to
No,
eat.
it's not.
But
It's not.
because me, after looking at how the food will go through the process, I don't know who's
The
bringing the food,
preparation as well.
preparation, everything, it scares me. But what really pisses is the way the organization, the way they are running around everybody, they are building carcass. I say, what kind of country? What kind of country is this?
Mm.
So you see, now to summarize all the points we've said here is, we should not just be saying about leadership. The key point is shifting our mindset.
Yeah.
Ibrahim Traoré mindset was shifted. That's why he was doing what he's doing.
Mm.
So if we are going to go into leadership, if we are going to use Ibrahim Traoré as a case study, as a symbol of what is possible in Africa, as a leadership model, our mindset needs to be shift first. Our
Yeah.
mindset needs to change. So we should not just admire Ibrahim, we should demand Ibrahim Traoré in all Africa, in all regions, north, east, west, south. We should admire him. So our viewers out there, you've heard our conversations, our viewpoint from different angles. I want you to join us. Comment below, share your thoughts. Subscribe to Invite channel to support us as we are trying to grow. We're trying to go into change the narratives of what is Africa all about, where we grow bold minds for a new Africa. We will see you in our next video. Bye for now.
Bye.